second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. What seems to be the second place is first. For all things we perceive are upside down until we listen, to the voice for God. It seems that we will gain autonomy, but by our striving to be separate and that our independence from the rest of God's creation is the way in which salvation is obtained. Yet all we find is sickness, suffering, and loss and death. This is not what our Father wills for us. Nor is there any second to His will. This is not what our Father wills for us, nor is there any second to His will. To join with His is but to find our own. To join our will with God's is but to find our own will. To join with His is but to find our own. And since our will is His, it is to Him that we must go. It is to Him that we must go to recognize our will. I choose the second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. There is no will but yours. There is no will but yours. And I am glad that nothing I imagine contradicts what you would have me be, what you would have me be. It is your will that I be wholly safe, eternally at peace, eternally at peace. And happily I share that will which you, my Father, gave as part of me. And happily I share that will which you, my Father, gave as part of me. I choose the second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today in studying A Course in Miracles. We're reading from the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. If you have an original edition and you're following along, you'll find the associated reading, which we're going to next, and the lesson to be the same. But there will not be a clarification of terms because it wasn't printed in that version. And that's what we'll be looking at, number 2, in the clarification of terms, which we're going to learn that the miracles forgive and the ego damns. Anyway, we're going to learn about the ego, miracle, and egos, and that they're kind of opposite of each other. One replaces the other, and you can have either one in your awareness. but not both at the same time. Okay, let's take a look back a couple pages at our associated reading with today's lesson. I choose the second place to gain the first. Before we go read it, let's look at it again. I choose the second place to gain the first. What does that mean? Well, I see it to mean that I want to step back and let God lead the way. I don't want to have any ambition to do what my ego, my separated self, wants to do or thinks that it can do. I've lost all my ambition. I just want to serve God, which doesn't take ambition, just takes willingness, joy. Just be yourself, your true self. Okay, let's see. Today, do your 2 longer practice periods. I choose the second place to gain the first. And then every hour of the day, bring that idea to your mind and make sure that you really truly are stepping back and letting God lead the way. In the upside down perspective, it seems like you may be taking the second place, serving your brother instead of serving yourself. But then we learned that actually serving your brother is serving yourself. Only from the upside down perspective does it seem to be taking second seat. I choose the second place to gain the first. What seems to be the second place is first. For all things we perceive are upside down until we listen to the voice for God. It seems that we will gain autonomy, but by our striving to be separate, and that our independence from the rest of God's creation is the way in which salvation is obtained. Yet all we find is sickness, suffering, and loss, and death. This is not what our Father wills for us, nor is there any second to His will. To join with His is but to find our own. And since our will is His, it is to Him that we must go to recognize our will. And the prayer says, there is no will but yours. And I am glad that nothing I imagine contradicts what you would have me be. It is your will that I be wholly safe, eternally at peace. And happily I share that will which you, my Father, gave as part of me. And, a couple of things. Jesus said something very similar in Matthew 20:16, Mark 10:31, and Luke 13:30. So the last shall be first, and the first last. Many are called, but few are chosen, which he's updated and said, all are called, few choose to listen at any one time. Few choose to listen. All are called, but few are chosen. He says that a nice update for that is all are called, but few choose to listen. Let's be the few that choose to listen. And then another place in Matthew 23, verse 11 and 12, he says, it's recorded that Jesus said, the greatest of you will be servant of all. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. And to me, that's what that lesson's all about. I choose the second place to gain the first. Okay. Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts and number infinite. This is what is creation, number 11. Creation is the sum of all God's thoughts and number infinite and everywhere without all limit. Only love creates and only like itself. There was no time when all that it created was not there, nor will there be a time when anything that it created suffers any loss. Forever and forever are God's thoughts exactly as they were and as they are, unchanged through time and after time is done. God's thoughts are given all the power that their own Creator has, for He would add to love by its extension. Thus His Son shares in creation and must therefore share in power to create. What God has willed to be forever one will still be one when time is over, and will not be changed throughout the course of time, remaining as it was before the thought of time began. Creation is the opposite of all illusions, for creation is the truth. Creation is the Holy Son of God, for in creation is His will complete in every aspect, making every part container of the whole. Its oneness is forever guaranteed inviolate, forever held within his holy will, beyond all possibility of harm, of separation, imperfection, and of any spot upon its sinlessness. We are creation, we the sons of God. We seem to be discreet and unaware of our eternal unity with him. Yet back of all our doubts, past all our fears, there still is certainty. For love remains with all its thoughts, its sureness being theirs. God's memory is in our holy minds, which know their oneness and their unity with their Creator. Let our function be only to let this memory return, only to let God's will be done on earth, only to be restored to sanity, and to be but as God created us. Our Father calls to us, we hear his voice, and we forgive creation in the name of its Creator, holiness itself, whose holiness his own creation shares, whose holiness is still a part of us. And let's go look in our clarification of terms behind the Manual for Teachers. The ego, the miracle. Number 2, illusions will not last. Their death is sure, and this alone is certain in this world. Illusions will not last. Their death is sure, and this alone is certain in this world. And this alone is certain in their world. It is the ego's world because of this. What is the ego? But a dream of what you are. A thought you are apart from your Creator, and a wish to be what he created not. You want a good definition of the ego? There it is. What is the ego? But a dream of what you really are. A thought you are apart from your Creator, and a wish to be what he cannot. A thought you are apart from your Creator, and a wish to be what he created not. It is a thing of madness, not reality at all. A name for namelessness is all it is. A symbol of impossibility, a choice for options that do not exist. We name it, but to help us understand that it is nothing but an ancient thought that what is made has immortality. But what could come of this except a dream, which, like all dreams, can only end in death? 2, what is the ego? Nothingness, but in a form that seems like something. What is the ego? Nothingness, but in a form that seems like something. In a world of form, the ego cannot be denied, for it alone seems real. Yet could God's Son, as he created him, abide in form or in a world of form? Who asks you to define the ego and explain how it arose can be but he who thinks it real, and seeks by definition to ensure that its elusive nature is concealed behind the words that seem to make it so. Again on that last sentence. Who asks you to define the ego and explain how it arose can be but he who thinks it real, and seeks by definition to ensure that its elusive nature is concealed behind the words that seem to make it so. There is no definition for a lie that serves to make it true. There is no definition for a lie that serves to make it true. Nor can there be a truth that lies conceal effectively. The ego's unreality is not denied by words, nor is its meaning clear because its nature seems to have a form. Who can define the undefinable? And yet, there is an answer even here. 4, we cannot really make a definition for what the ego is, but we can say what it is not. And this is shown to us with perfect clarity. It is from this that we deduce all that the ego is. Look at its opposite and you can see the only answer that is meaningful. 5, the ego's opposite in every way, in origin, effect, and consequence we call a miracle. The opposite of the ego we call a miracle. And here we find all that is not the ego in this world. Here is the ego's opposite, and here alone we look on what the ego was. For here we see all that it seemed to do, and cause, and its effects must still be one. Let's read that last sentence again. Here is the ego's opposite, and here alone we look on what the ego was. For here we see all that it seemed to do, and cause, and its effects must still be one. Again on that. Here is the ego's opposite, and here alone we look on what the ego was. For here we see all that it seemed to do, and cause and its effect must still be one. Paragraph 6. Where there was darkness, now we see the light. Where there was darkness, now we see the light. What is the ego? What the darkness was. Where is the ego? Where the darkness was. What is now, and what is it now, and where can it be found? Nothing and nowhere. Now the light has come. Its opposite has gone without a trace. Where evil was, there now is holiness. What is the ego? What the evil was. Where is the ego? In an evil dream that but seemed real while you were dreaming it. In an evil dream that seemed real while you were dreaming it. Where there was crucifixion, stands God's Son. What is the ego? Who has need to ask? What is the ego? Who has need to ask? Where is the ego? Who has need to seek for an illusion? Now the dreams are gone. We want the miracle. We want to wake up from the dream and see what always is and always has been while we were dreaming. Paragraph 7. What is a miracle? A dream as well. Okay, so a miracle is a dream as well, he's saying. But look at all the aspects of this dream and you will never question anymore. Look at the kindly world you see extend before you as you walk in gentleness. Look at the helpers all along the way you travel, happy in the certainty of heaven and the surety of peace. And look an instant, too, on what you left behind at last and finally passed by. 8. This was the ego. All the cruel hate, the need for vengeance and the cries of pain, the fear of dying and the urge to kill, the brotherless illusion and the self that seemed alone in all the universe. This terrible mistake about yourself, the miracle corrects as gently as a loving mother sings her child to rest. Is not a song like this what you would hear? Would it not answer all you thought to ask and even make the question meaningless? 9. Your questions have no answer, being made to still God's voice, which asks of everyone one question only. Are you ready yet to help me save the world? Wow. Have you answered that question? Come this far in A Course in Miracles, and you probably answered that question. Let's hope you have. Your questions have no answer, being made to still God's voice, which asks of everyone one question only. Are you ready yet to help me save the world? Another way you might say that, are you ready yet to help me love everybody in the world and help them be happy? Help them be at peace? Help them get the miracle that's their reality? Your questions have no answer, being made to still God's voice, which asks of everyone one question only. Are you ready yet to help me save the world? Ask this instead of what the ego is, and you will see a sudden brightness cover up the world the ego made. No miracle is now withheld from anyone. The world is saved from what you thought it was, and what it is wholly uncondemned and wholly pure. And the last paragraph, 10. The miracle forgives, the ego damns. The miracle forgives, the ego damns. Neither need be defined except by this. So there's the definition of the ego and the miracle. The miracle forgives, the ego damns. You want to look on a world condemned and damned? Well, then look through the separated self of the ego. You want to look at the world that's lustrous in beauty? Well, then look through the world that forgiveness sees, the eyes of Christ, the vision of a forgiven world. The miracle forgives, the ego damns. Neither need be defined except by this. Yet could a definition be more sure or more in line with what salvation is or what happiness is? Problem and answer lie together here, and having met at last, the choice is clear. Who chooses hell when it is recognized, and who would not go on a little while when it is given him to understand the way is short and heaven is his goal? Just a little while, just a puff of smoke, as James says, and then we're home. Might seem like a long journey, just a little short journey, because we're really home already. Okay, let's see what's going on around the world. All day today, every hour today, tell yourself, I choose the second place to gain the first. And don't do it so much as you want to do it every hour and even aim for the top of the hour. But let it be something that just floats in your mind. You do that kind of like, okay, I'm going to make sure I do it every hour. But then throughout the day, in between those hours, use it and think about, I choose the second place to gain the first. Are you truly doing that? Are you loving your neighbor as yourself by stepping back and loving them and putting yourself aside, knowing that you'll be cared for if you do your part, which is take care of your brothers and sisters? Choose salvation. Isn't that what he said just now? Let's look at it again. Let me turn back to it so I can say it the way he said it. Who chooses hell when it is recognized? Oh, where did I? Well, anyway, he now I'm not even finding it. I thought I'd go right to it. Anyway, there we just read that we're to help save the world, and that's how we free ourselves from the ego, by seeing ourselves in others and loving them. Okay, if holidays and observances I found today, it's Guru Tegh Bahadur's Martyrdom Day for the Sikhs, Day of the Covwnant for the Bahai, Nativity fast continues for Orthodox Christians, Vinayaka Chaturthi festival for Hindu people. That's a festival to Ganesha. In holidays and observances, Brownielocks Day. Enjoy your brown hair day. Celebrate your unique talent day. D.B. Cooper Day, hijacker of 1971. Sardines Day. There's 5 genera and 20 species worldwide. Use even if seal is broken day. Basically a day to lighten up and, take good advice, but don't be too literal. Of course, that probably is a good thing to do. If its seal's broken, probably not a good idea to eat it. I tell the story when I was a kid about putting a crawdad in a mayonnaise store. I didn't actually do it, but my friend of mine did. I told my brother about it, and he went and overlooked it, and they thought he was the one that did it. The next day. Okay. Anyway, if the seal's broken, don't eat it. It's the idea. Vates Collards, and it's a Brassica oleracea. Let's see what it says about the Vates Collards. And out of Seed Savers Exchange, also known as blue stem or Vates non-heading, developed by and named for the Virginia Truck Experiment Station, dark green leaves on upright 24-inch plants, known for lack of purpling in veins and leaves, excellent variety for boiling, bolt and frost resistant, 60 to 80 days. And our word for peace today, we're going to take it from the Surrey people of the coastal Sonora, Mexico area. They're on the coastal. They go all the way south to the Yaqui River. That's their southern border. But they're mainly a coastal group of the Surrey people. And the word, their word for peace is, it's kind of a long one, Milsay, ihom, siljoz. Milsay, ihom, siljoz. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, but hopefully we're close. Okay, that's our word for peace. Let's close with our song. Thank you again for joining me. Let me get my book set up here so that I can see it well enough. I kind of hard time reading it. It's almost kind of dark today. It is cloudy. I mean, it's having a little hard time seeing. Maybe I should take just a minute and put my glasses on so that I can see a little better. Okay. And we're going to I choose the second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. What seems to be the second place is first for all. For all things we perceive are upside down until we listen to the voice for God, till we listen to the voice for God. It seems that we will gain autonomy, but by our striving to be separate, and that our independence from the rest of God's creation is the way in which salvation is obtained. Yet all we find is sickness, suffering and loss and death. This is not what our Father wills for us, what our Father wills for us. Nor is there any second to His will. There is no second to His will. To join with His is but to find our own, but to find our own. And since our will is His, it is to Him that we must go to recognize, that we must go to recognize our will. There is no will but yours. There is no will but yours. And I am glad that nothing I imagine contradicts what you would have me be. And I imagine I would have me be. And I am glad that nothing I imagine contradicts what you would have me be. It is your will that I be wholly safe, eternally at peace. And happily I share that will which you, my Father, gave as part of me. I choose the second place to gain the first. I choose the second place to gain the first. Okay, and our word for peace out of the Sonora people of the Surrey people of Mexico is Milsay, ihom, siljoz. I choose the second place to gain the first. Milsay, ihom, siljoz. I choose the second place to gain the first.